from WDWNT, the worldwide leader in Disney Parks news. This is ParksCenter. Hello there, everybody. Welcome to this week's edition of ParksCenter. My name's Ben, and joining me on tonight's show, we have Allison.
Hello, hello.
Rob.
Hello.
Nathan.
Oh, Kungaloosh, everybody.
And Fig.
Hi. Hi.
All right, folks, let's go ahead and dig on into our first topic tonight. No Sivakos. We miss you, Pete. We'll see you soon. But the Spider Van.
Okay.
I love
that bottom right corner. Takes that.
Yeah, there it is. So
I was
we
doing
have
my
some...
best Jill impression, so I couldn't say Sivako.
So we've got some concept art for the ride vehicles for the Spider-Man ride that's coming to Disneyland Resort and Disneyland Paris. And they, at least to me, they can be best described as the Spider Van. Like, it's just this kind of a capsule-like thing.
I'm getting Horizons vibes from
like
it,
this is pretty
enough.
cool.
I'm really
liking this.
Hagrid?
Really?
No.
Oh.
No, the Hogwarts Express.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, okay.
Encapsulated? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think they look like tanning machines from the early 2000s. Gonna give you like the things on your eyes.
Tanning machine.
But if you read the description of the ride, this has nothing to do with the vehicle, but like I'm super excited about being able to like shoot spidey webs, and I hope somebody from Imagineering is listening to this, because I think it'd be really cool if like the more you go on the ride, the better you get at it. Just like how like as Peter Parker first discovers he's got this ability, he is like not so good at shooting the webs, but then he like kind of learns, and then pretty soon he's like flying through buildings and stuff. So I think that would be amazing.
Are you talking like just getting better at it, like from having done it multiple times and I now have the knack for it kind of thing? Or are you talking like a mechanical, like the game recognizes you've been here before and makes you better because you've done it before? I
think it'd be better if you could like build skills with it, so that you can get better and better at it.
Enhance
Yeah.
Gosh, a ride with a skill tree. I'm in. I'm sold.
I know it's very bad.
Oh.
Only if at the end, because it's got to be connected to something. So only if at the end, like you had a Spider-Man and he was like, thank you, Nathan.
I feel like that's been done before somewhere.
Still good.
That's
Still
weird.
good. We're gonna do this this time. Might as well.
I'm excited about this ride vehicle because it looks like not like Toy Story Midway Mania, and I know that the plans that were leaked earlier, I don't feel like it does. I mean, the plans that were leaked earlier said that it was kind of one of those things where it was sort of going to be a, it made it seem like it was basically Toy Story Midway Mania, and so when I'm looking at this, it does look a little bit more like the Hogwarts ride, where you've got people inside the vehicle and like 3 or 4 side by side. Maybe it's still the same thing, but at least it looks like there's some physical elements to it, so that's good. I just don't want it to be... The ride at Universal is so good for Spider-Man. It's one of the best things that they do, I think, that I wish... I'm wanting that for Disney. I'm wanting that kind of a thing. So I'm hoping it is a little bit of a mix of practical and screen.
Is this double-sided?
Spider-Man
I
ride
can't
is
tell.
old now. It opened in 2003, so it's still...
Yeah, but it's still a good ride.
Sorry.
Is this concept art? Are those double-sided vehicles? That's what I'm quite like. I can't tell.
Oh, that's actually a really good...
This isn't...
Huh.
I feel like the gates there sort of show 2 entrances.
It looks like you go in through
No, it's just one side.
No, that's one double gate, and then you go in through the middle and sit down on the bench, I think. And there's some distance
I could imagine
you in the front.
You look how far deep
I've
you
never
are
been
into that
able...
vehicle, too.
You need to have enough room to be able to do this. Like, you've got to have full arm's length that you're not punching the glass. Like, that makes sense.
And at least you're not... Well, that's my question, too. It's not Toy Story Mania, clearly, if you're not back-to-back, which I think is sort of very much a part of that experience, is doubling it on both sides.
It's not Toy Story Mania. I've never been able to ride the Universal one, so this is going to be like the first time riding a Spider-Man attraction, so I'm really excited. And they're gonna have
Fig,
physical
you gotta
props,
go.
which is the reason I can't ride the Universal one, because there aren't any physical props and I get really sick. So yes, I'm very excited.
Well, speaking of rides with screens and no physical props, Soaring, fantastic. I mean, I'm not wrong.
Physical cue, though. I mean,
Soaring Fantastic Flight is up at Tokyo Disney Sea, and they blew their entire budget on the queue and buying the G. The film itself is pretty much identical to Soaring Around the World that we've seen a bunch of times. But this queue is wowzers nice. Like we're gonna get down into how great this looks in a little bit. I'm gonna throw this to folks who want to talk about it while I'm finding the good shots.
Fig,
did you guys notice that Tom wrote this at 2 in the morning? Very good.
Well, it was like 2 in the afternoon in Tokyo.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Right.
Yeah.
I love the fact that he said in there.
Line for 320 minutes, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Right. I love the fact that he said that you could shut down all the rest of the Soarings, that this is the best one. I mean, I didn't actually watch the ride-through of it, but the queue looks amazing, and so I'm excited to see it.
Mm-hmm.
All their queues are great, though.
Yeah,
the
it is the
video
exact
looks
same
more or
ride.
less the same.
Yeah,
I mean, it's
beyond the last
It's the same video.
It's very similar. I mean, there's the Tokyo
Still
Resort
has
at the
the
end,
whale,
right?
You know, it has all that stuff.
But the pre-show is amazing.
That's the whale.
It really is.
Yeah,
Like,
the pre-show with the
down to
graphic.
Well, it's
So
an
everything
upgrade
is
if there
thought
is a pre-show. It's an upgrade from the last one, right? I mean,
Well, I love Patrick Warburton. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
that's really more
Inside
instructions than a
the-
pre-show.
In the outdoor queue, like where you see like those big like Roman columns and stuff, and like the Corinthian columns, they have like embedded fans, so it can like keep people cool. But there's not just like a random fan posted up in the corner. It's like worked into the like infrastructure of the building, and that's such a Tokyo Disney Sea thing.
Like wow,
Like,
that's
so
like I can't even
cool.
find a picture of this. Like
So
that's
cool.
just
And if
impressive.
if you watch the video, when the new scenes come up, you hear like I got emotional. Like everyone just started clapping, and everyone was like audible gasps. So I'm like, it's the same video, but it works. It was brilliant to like put in like cater to like the crowds there, and like just this magnificent like Tokyo Tower, and then Tokyo Disney Sea. Like, yeah. I think the added
It still
scenes are
bends
great.
though. Yeah, from what Tom said, it still bends a little bit, so it's not
Oh, yeah.
perfect. The issues that we have still are the issues that they're kind of having there. But this is such a classic example of Tokyo proving either how dumb Disney, like the corporate Disney here, thinks we are for wanting quality, or how dumb we actually are and not caring. I don't know which it is, but it is so gorgeous and so luscious. Man, can we have the Oriental Land Company take over Epcot? Like,
Yes,
I give
please.
it to them all. Just they can do whatever they want. I'm happy with it. No beer gardens, just beautiful scenery.
Yeah.
Yeah, way to make it sound creepy by saying luscious. What's up with that?
It is
That's a great
Yes.
word.
It sounded creepy when Nathan said it. Sorry,
Nice.
but there you go. Never mind. I'll leave it on that. That's good enough.
But what a luscious way to end it.
Speaking of,
But speaking of luscious, I guess.
Speaking of lusciousness,
That's the biggest stretch we've
Oh,
done on this
no.
show in a while.
No.
we're gonna lush this one out. It's gonna be
Okay.
luscious.
Can you not?
So there are new stories, sounds, visual effects, and finally random drop sequences coming to the Tower of Terror at the Walt Disney Studios Park. No, not the one in Florida, the one in Paris. This is not the Disney
Can't tell
Hollywood
by-
Studios.
You
This
can't
is
tell
the
by the
Disney...
tower.
Another,
Yeah.
another
Like, you
reason
really
to
can't.
go to Paris.
Yeah.
Like I'm very interested in like if this is going to end up being like really nice, or if this is going to feel like they just took like our classic story and like butchered it and ruined it. Like,
Well, they say that they're going to add some story elements featuring a classic character that's already in the ride. So I don't know if that means more Rod Serling, which seems weird, and like we would have to get some sort of legal stuff to get that figured out. My guess is it's like the little girl or somebody like one of the people in the queue already, or in the elevator. But I don't know. It'll be interesting. It's just nice to see someone elaborate on the Twilight Zone aspect, opposed to like just turning it into Guardians of the Galaxy. So
Yeah.
I just don't understand why this didn't happen earlier, because this ride opened in when the park opened back in 2007 or 2008, I can't remember, at that point, like the one in Hollywood Studios had been randomized since 2002, I think. So it's weird that ride opened 5 years later and wasn't doing this, but it's good they're getting an upgrade now.
Is California's randomized? I'm not sure if it was.
You
It
get,
is now.
like,
Was it during Twilight Zone?
sequences.
Well, Mission Breakout is definitely randomized because you have different music and different scenes.
Yeah,
and also
It's
it does
so
different
good.
drops. So yeah,
Well,
it
I
is.
couldn't
I
remember
love
if it
that.
was random. Well, I'm just saying I couldn't remember if it was random before Guardians, because if California's wasn't, I just can't remember.
I don't think
it's
so.
the same ride layout, so maybe that it was just not as, we want to compare it to studios, but honestly, it's completely different. They're completely different rides in a lot of aspects. So beyond theming,
Yeah, they're worse ones.
Yeah.
They're worse versions.
Yeah, no, for sure. They're more
later,
efficient,
so
but
it's
they're
like-
worse. Yeah.
I hate that Paris did something for like the anniversary of the ride, but then we didn't do anything. It was the 25th anniversary of Tower of Terror, and all we got was like some social media posts. That was it. I mean,
Well,
I don't know. They're
if
like
you remember the
restoring the other
30th.
side or whatever, but
yeah.
That's fine
If you
with me.
remember
I don't
the
need
30th
to be
anniversary.
how old I am. It's fine.
That's fair.
I mean, if you remember Hollywood Studios' 30th anniversary, they could care less about showing any love towards anything that's there currently. Like, it's Galaxy's Edge, baby. That's all that they're going to talk about. So I'm not surprised. But it's sad because you could have got some merch out of that.
Oh, for
Tower
sure.
of Terror is all they've got. It's all they're gonna keep having until Galaxy's Edge. Even after Galaxy's Edge is open, the moment they leave, what are they gonna want to do? Go to like the best attraction in Walt Disney World, Tower of Terror.
Oh.
I don't know. I
I've
don't want to transition into this next one, Ben.
Well, I'll take it. Going from
I don't know how-
the best ride in the Hollywood Studios park to the one of the worst, if not the worst, in my humble opinion. Alien
butt of a
swirling
lot of
saucers. Alien swirling saucers is what that stands for, folks. The interactive queue has finally been at least partially activated in Toy Story Land. And there are things that you can poke, and they make lights move.
Well, talk about sounding sketchy now.
Yeah.
Exactly.
You can spin a giant knob if you get an adult to help you start spinning it first, because it's way too heavy for a kid to spin on their own.
I mean, talk about being late.
Yeah, really. Like, we're so
Well, I
late,
think
we don't
mine
even
was
have one of them
like-
up yet.
Late to the
Yeah.
land, late to like the phase when people were like remotely interested in this stuff. Like,
Yeah.
I love like cutesy things like that, but ain't nobody gonna play with that. Like, people were ignoring it
Well-
as it is in the video.
Well, and that's the thing too, is like, I think their whole plan was this Play app was going to be the main thing, and then like, we don't want to distract from the Play app.
Oh, yeah.
Like, let's keep these off. And it's like, don't worry, bro. No one's distracted. It's not that big of a deal.
Nope.
It's fun, but it's
Why
like
put 'em in
they're
the
not
first
they're not
place, though?
interactive like Haunted Mansion, gorgeous interactive. They look like chunky like plastic play sets, because that's what they are. But it also is like, it's not appealing necessarily.
But again, like, why would they put them in at all though? If the problem is they don't want to detract from the Play app, and then on the other side of it, like, they must have known from the beginning that Slinky Dog would be a longer line than the Alien Swirling Saucers. So why are there interactive pieces in Alien Swirling Saucers, which is always a shorter line, and then nothing really in the Slinky Dog? So I mean, to me, I didn't know these were there and sitting dormant. And so when I saw this was like, oh hey, they've finally been turned on, I thought, why though? Like, why now? Why? I don't get it. I'm not.
Why though?
Like, exactly how I felt. I was just like, why? It doesn't make any sense. So if there was to, like, the worry was it would distract from the Play app, then why do it in the first place?
Yeah.
So I mean,
Maybe.
it doesn't seem like there's a big need for it, does there? I mean, that line is usually not that long.
Well,
It's
it will
money
be
they
once
could have
Galaxy's Edge
spent on
opens.
shade for the land.
Oh,
So true.
I'm
Yes.
sure budget-wise it would have been comparable. And one of the few places you can get shade in this land are the 2 Qs, so this probably needs it less. But I will never complain entirely about interactive elements in a queue that is entirely switchbacks anyway, because that's so boring and makes you feel like a mouse in a cage.
Spider-Man rage.
I definitely get, Nathan, if you're saying like it's because Star Wars Galaxy's Edge is coming and those lines might start to get longer, and yeah, that, I mean, I guess that kind of tracks, but it still doesn't make any sense that there would be interactive elements there and not in the long roller coaster ride, though. It just, I mean,
Maybe
play
it's just a
episode.
budget
I don't know what else
thing.
to do.
It's
maybe
the stuff that got bought first. I don't know.
like this just
Wouldn't be
feels
surprised.
kind of out of left
Decals
field.
are expensive these days, Rob, you know?
No, I get you. Yeah.
Moving on from here to save a little bit of time. We have yet another story about the Black Box attraction, which is now being internally referred to as a flex ride as well. It looks like this is going to be opening up in 2022 for California Adventure and Hollywood Studios at this point. We first told you about this back in May, but we just recently got these dates attached to it. We still don't know what necessarily it's going to be opening with. We just like what theming this is going to have on day one, but presumably that since the whole point of this attraction is that we can, well, not we, but Disney can switch out everything relatively quickly and easily, it might be changing very rapidly on us.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, this far ahead, if they can change it overnight, why would they be planning yet what they're going to put in there? They could have a Dick Tracy situation on their hands if they waited, if they went ahead and jumped the gun now and planned something. So I think it's a smart move. You know what? I think you guys may hate on this, but I kind of love this idea. I love the idea that something like Moana or Zootopia or something that doesn't have a big representation in the parks could have a big representation ride like overnight. I kind of love that idea. Now, I love the thought of there being one of these. What starts to worry me is like screen-based attractions and then it becoming like a Universal Studios 2.0. And then all in there going, oh, okay, well, people like screens, like we'll just do all screens from now on. It'll be a lot cheaper. If there's one of these and it can change quickly and have the newest IP in it, that's great. But that's the only worry I have is that they would go, oh, let's build a bunch more. I mean, they're already building one more in California.
I had no interest in this, and then you said the words Dick Tracy. Now I just want it to be a Dick Tracy ride.
Yes.
So if Disney would like
or
to
the
use
black
this
hole,
space,
you could do that one too.
Yeah, if Disney wants to use this to give me my Dick Tracy ride, another Who Framed Roger Rabbit ride, a Rocketeer ride, a Honey, I Shrunk the Kids ride again, and what else? But yeah, Black Hole, we'll call it that. If they want to do that, cool. They're not, so I don't care about this. It's garbage, and a cheap way to do nothing.
Disney Plus could change minds, though. I mean, if you got data that shows people are watching those old movies, wouldn't it be cool to be able to say, okay, everybody seems to really love the Black Cauldron. What if we put together a Black Cauldron ride for a special anniversary? Because you know how they love to celebrate an anniversary, except for studios. But when you go in and have all of that Disney Plus data and they can see what people are actually consuming, they could go back and do some throwback rides, and that would be awesome. Well, it would be pie in the sky. They could do whatever they want to. The question is, what would they do?
I wonder if this is going to end up looking like a projection show at Hollywood Studios. And I don't mean that in a bad way, but I do mean it in sort of like it's not a narrative-centered ride. It's like more of a thematic ride. Like, we're going to take you through this thing and like here's things bouncing off the walls and some interactive stuff. I hope they do more than that, but it seems like it would be more tonal than narrative driven is my guess.
And if it's a trackless, I mean, if it's the trackless ride and it's got screens, you could really do whatever you want to. And I mean, I talked about Haunted Mansion Holiday last week on News Tonight. That attraction overlay is so well done, and they put it in in a matter of weeks, and it looks amazing. It's got animatronics and things. You could add other elements other than the screens and the trackless ride and really make it something. But it goes back to the question of, will they do that? Maybe will they do the bare minimum, or will they, will it just be some of those expensive decals you were talking about earlier?
I would say nothing suggests that they would do the bare minimum right now. They don't seem to do that ever. So
I just wish they would put this in Disney Springs, not in a park.
Yep.
Right
next,
wow.
Yeah.
Right next to the void.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah, I get void vibes from this. Like, it's just, but in a bad way almost. I don't know. It feels kind of like junky and temporary.
Because of the location.
Be in a mall.
Yeah.
But if it actually had a ride element to it, then that makes it different to me than the void, where it's wait in line and then you walk through and you come back out. If it actually has a ride system and they give it enough room, it could be something cool.
Yeah, possibly.
Could be.
Well, speaking of giving things room, can we? Apparently, we need to give people a lot more room. This past week, a guest was removed from Walt Disney World after punching a cast member at the Tower of Terror. I should have segued.
That's your anniversary.
Yeah.
Happy anniversary, punch in the face.
Please do not punch cast members in the face, especially just because your Fast Pass wasn't valid.
It's the least we can ask.
Literally.
So my concern right now is that there have been more stories about violence in the parks in the past few weeks than I've seen in a while. I'm a little concerned by this. What are people's thoughts on this? Like, is this some new trend that we need to worry about? Is this just the heat getting to everybody all of a sudden?
Yeah, Ben, have you ever seen
The
Do the Right
heat is
Thing?
a spurious variable.
Yeah,
that's what I say. It's like Do the Right Thing. People are getting hot and angry, and those things that they got against each other are rising to the surface. I think that's the majority of it, honestly. That and booze. We don't know if either of these last two instances, the one at Disneyland or this one, had liquor involved. I'm going to think maybe.
But it's Disneyland. You can't have alcohol in Disneyland.
Well, not Disneyland, but here, possibly.
Yeah, no, you're entirely right.
Heat and alcohol have always existed in the parks. Like, not always, okay, but for a good amount of time in the past few years, and now we have incidences that happen almost regularly at the parks. I don't know, is it because it's getting covered, because people have this morbid curiosity about watching people getting beat up at theme parks? Is it how jarring it is to see people such violence in a happy place? I don't know.
Yeah, that's.
Do you think it could have anything to do with Fox, the recent acquisition of Fox, now that they own the movie Fight Club?
Oh, good grief!
Do you think that it's sort of an interactive thing tied into the movie Fight Club? I mean, could that be part of it? I don't know. I think
No.
I think, though, these two things, though, I don't think make a pattern, Ben. I think these two different elements don't necessarily make a pattern. It is horrible to think that adults had a big, knockdown drag out in the middle of Toontown, of all places. I mean, save that stuff for Tomorrowland, but don't do it in Toontown.
No, that's Frontierland. Come on, get it right. No, that's Frontierland. That's the Wild West.
We need to re-legalize dip, and if
Wild
we
West.
wouldn't have these problems. Yeah.
But do you think the second story would have popped up so big if the first one hadn't been so big? It's horrible that this person got punched in the face, but it was mild compared to the other one. And so I wonder if more of that stuff hasn't been made the news, but once the first story did, everything else is now there's more of an eye on it.
I don't know. I think the second one was big because of the cast member, because of the identity of the victim, and it wasn't just guest on guest violence or same family on same family. But I think a lot of it is the heat for sure. People are just in general poor at conflict resolution, and then I think people also have tremendous stresses. And they're in right now in this country, and people are just really stressed out. I think for years. And we've got poor ways of dealing with that. And so people are just, it's like a hair trigger. It wasn't about the Fast Pass. It couldn't possibly have been about the Fast Pass.
Yo, it could have though.
Yeah, have you?
We all need
it's Florida. It could have.
Big hats. Everyone needs a therapy pet.
I want to say
Yes.
I want to say this though about both these instances. At least this one in Walt Disney World, what we have seen with this one is it is poor planning on the guest for not knowing when her fast passes were or what fast passes she had. Yeah. And I think that poor planning leads to heightened aggression because you're not getting the experience you think you've paid for. Because you're like, well, no, I should have this stuff, and it's like, no, you don't, because you didn't follow the procedure. Now, I would love to make a correlation graph of people who did not get fast passes till the day they got there and violence in the park. Ooh. I bet there is a connecting tissue there somewhere. It is an agitation provider for sure. And so I think
for Walt Disney
I'm curious.
World.
And I'm curious how. Yeah, Disneyland, I don't know. I think that's a domestic dispute, but I think there is a level of you have to do this much when you're at the parks. We have to have this much fun, and if we don't, we've wasted tons and tons and tons and tons of money, and that leads to brawls in the street. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I would be more violent though if it was something that I had reserved 60 to 90 days in advance, and it kind of blew up in my face. I'd be more angry about that than I would one that I picked up that morning, though.
Yeah.
Right.
Like for the fast pass thing. Like, and I
had
that
also
happen.
been more reasonable.
Maybe I don't know.
You'd
like,
probably go to guest services and just yell at them because they can actually do
Right.
something, and you wouldn't escalate to violence because that gets you kicked out of the park, and you know that.
Right.
Forever.
Right. No, for sure. Yeah, but we had one where we did a fast pass for Frozen, and as you know, like that's one of those that was hard to get, and we took our family and the people on the boat our boat had their flashlight on the entire time, and we're talking the entire time, and it's one of those things where it's like, wait a minute, I reserved this 90 days out. We've been looking forward to it. Here we go, and we're on this. I was pretty frustrated. I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I was pretty frustrated. So no, I just like circled back around, went to the front, and told the cast member at the front, hey, this is what happened, and they were like, okay, well, we'll let you go on again. So I mean, I was pretty angry at the time though, and if there had been a resolution, I don't know. But I mean, that's what I'm saying is like 90 days out, that would have been worse than I tried to get one this morning and it didn't work out.
I think the moral of the story, though, is we only punch people who recite the stretching room scene at the Haunted Mansion. Beyond that, your hands off.
Yeah, that's a given.
Stop it.
Love them, though.
Please.
Yeah, you get a pass on that
It's the
one.
dark. No one knows. Just
That's
do it when
everyone
the
at
lightning hits.
VIP ass holder night.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. Well, we went massively over on this, but thankfully, this last one is kind of a very short topic. Boo to You gets 2 new parade floats, and by new I mean we stole them from somewhere else.
Nothing's actually new.
I thought you said boo to you, and I was really confused. Boo to you, yeah. Yeah, nothing's new.
Yeah, nothing's new. The only thing that makes me at all excited about this is the fact that we have Edna Mode in a costume parade. Heck yes, this is appropriate. Thank you.
So Jack Sparrow is gone?
Yeah, apparently. His float got taken over by Space Rangers.
Well, that thematically fits, right?
I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Tomorrowland really says Halloween.
Well, the future is terrifying.
That's what
true.
I hate about that float. It was like it's like clearly it's like all rock, and they just put these like blue crystals on it to make it
so dumb.
space-like. Yeah. It's like, oh, it's the surface of Mars. It's like, no, it's just a repurposed float. Chill.
That's what they do with all those kyber crystals.
Oh my gosh. There it is. We did it.
Yeah. Put them all on the float.
All right. I'm going to call this.
I can't get excited about this until they half the number of tickets they sell, and then I'll be excited.
Yeah, I hear that is getting pretty out of control. The hard ticket party nights, not the after hours, but the ones that are like the Christmas party and the Halloween party. I've heard people say it got so bad that they just packed it in early.
Yeah. I've done that for the past few years.
Well,
too much.
Speaking of packing it in. Thank you, folks.
Nice.
Thank you, folks, for watching ParksCenter this week. If you are interested in making it out there to see these new floats, to see Galaxy's Edge when it opens up, anything like that, we highly recommend you folks check out Never Grow Up Vacations, the official travel partner of WDWNT. Never Grow Up Vacations is an authorized Disney vacation planner whose focus is in making magic for their clients. And with over 20 years of experience booking Disney vacations, we're sure they can help you make your next trip even more magical. Head on over to wdwnt.travel to contact them about your next trip today. Again, thank you, folks, for watching. If you are watching this and you are not watching it live, you could be. We are live every Wednesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. You can find us over on the WDWN Tunes or at youtube.com/WDWNT, where you can also subscribe and hit that bell to get notified every time we go live. If you are watching the video version of this show and would like to have an audio version, we do have that as well. Search for ParksCenter wherever fine podcasts are sold. It's Parks with an S, and you should be able to find us. Coming up tomorrow night. Do we know what's coming up tomorrow night, actually? That's a fair question.
No.
Oh, wait, what?
There may or may not be a show tomorrow night, so stay tuned for that. Keep an eye on the website, wdwnt.com, for any announcements about that.
But what's happening in a week
after that? Yeah, a week and a day.
Talk about that.
August 1st.
Hey,
I'm excited for this. We have the 100th episode of News Tonight, which is happening live in studio. We have a studio. You can go to the recording of News Tonight and be there for the 100th episode if you want to do this. That is going to be something to see. Click around on WDWNT for more details on that if you're interested. I'm excited to see what happens with this.
So am I.
He's excited because he doesn't have to set it up.
Oh!
Yeah, I'm terrified. I'm setting up the studio tomorrow, so...
Good luck, folks! All right, that is going to do it for tonight's show, unless you are sticking around for the post-show, which is for our WIGS members, or our patrons. We'd like to call them WIGS around here, for WDWNT Interglobe Society. If you're not a member, you can head on over to patreon.com/WDWNT. For as little as $2 a month, you can help support this show and all the other shows, get access to our post show, the News Tonight post show, and a whole lot more. So head on over there, check that out again, patreon.com/WDWNT. All right, if you're going to join us for the post show, we're going to hop right into it. Otherwise, we will see you all next week.
Bye.
See you back home.
I don't know.